Two massive celebrity bombshells dropped that have everyone talking. Feist, shocking new details from the Diddy trial reveal his former employee asked for $10 million in a settlement but only got $200,000. That's a difference of $9.8 million. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift just pulled off what might be the biggest business move in music history by buying back her entire catalog. Want to know why someone would accept 98% less money than they asked for, and how Taylor Swift just outsmarted the entire music industry? We're breaking down both explosive stories that are dominating headlines right now. Before we dive into these shocking developments, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss the latest celebrity bombshells. Let's get into it. The $10 million question. Let's start with the Diddy trial bombshell because this revelation has legal experts and social media completely divided. A former employee known in court as MIA has been testifying for 2 days about her time working for Diddy's companies. She's making some serious allegations that we can't get into full detail about since this is appropriate for all audiences. But here's where the story gets absolutely wild. During her testimony, prosecutors asked MIA about a settlement she received when her job ended. She had been working for Revolt Films, which is one of Diddy's companies, when it shut down and she became unemployed. Instead of filing a lawsuit in court, MIA and her lawyers decided to try private negotiations with Diddy's team. They went through what's called mediation, where both sides sit down with their lawyers and try to work out their problems without going to court. This actually happens all the time in business disputes. Now here comes the part that has everyone's jaws on the floor. MIA originally asked for $10 million. $10 million. That's an absolutely massive amount of money for any workplace dispute. But when the negotiations were over, she walked away with just $200,000 for herself. Her lawyers got another $200,000, making the total settlement $400,000. Do the math on this. MIA asked for $10 million and accepted $200,000. That means she took just 2% of what she originally demanded. She left 98% of her original ask on the table. This is the kind of number that makes people stop and say, wait, what? The big question that everyone is asking is this. If MIA really had evidence that was worth $10 million, why would she accept such a tiny fraction of that amount? This is exactly what Diddy's defense lawyers are now using to question her entire story. The defense strategy revealed. Diddy's legal team has been working on a specific strategy for months, and this settlement revelation fits perfectly into their plan. They want to convince the jury that the people testifying against Diddy are primarily motivated by money, not by seeking justice. Their argument is simple but powerful. If someone's main goal is to get paid, then maybe their story isn't completely reliable. They are not saying people are necessarily lying, but they are suggesting that financial motivation might be affecting how people remember events or present their stories. The defense lawyers are asking what seems like a very reasonable question. In settlement negotiations, you typically present your strongest evidence to get the best deal possible. If MIA had really serious allegations that could support a $10 million claim, why didn't she use that evidence during the negotiations? Here's the really interesting part that makes this even more complicated. During the settlement talks, MIA says she never brought up the most serious allegations she's now making in the criminal trial. She told the court she was planning to take those with me until I die. This means she kept what could have been her most powerful evidence completely secret. From a business perspective, this doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're asking for $10 million and the other side is only offering $400,000, wouldn't you use every piece of evidence you have to try to bridge that gap? That's exactly what Diddy's defense team is arguing to the jury. But there's another side to this that's important to understand. Sometimes people who have been through difficult experiences don't want to discuss them, even if talking about them could result in more money. The emotional cost of reliving trauma can be too high, even in a private room with just lawyers present. The prosecution team knew this settlement issue would come up, so they decided to address it first during their questioning. This is a smart legal strategy called getting ahead of the problem. By bringing up the issue themselves, they can try to explain it in a way that doesn't damage their case. Legal expert weighs in to help make sense of this complicated situation. One of America's most famous criminal defense lawyers shared his thoughts. Jose Baez, who won the Casey Anthony case that shocked the country, gave his analysis of what this settlement news means for the trial. Jose Baez explained that jurors have to consider all available information when they are deciding whether a witness is telling the truth. He said it's difficult to figure out what really happened in the past, so the best approach is to look at every aspect of the relationship between the people involved. According to Baez, if something really significant happened and you're going into settlement negotiations, you would normally present your strongest evidence first. He understands that people who have been hurt sometimes don't want to talk about their experiences, but he said the fact that MIA didn't mention her most serious allegations would be very concerning to him if he was sitting on the jury. The legal expert also talked about how this entire case began. He pointed out that it started when Cassie, Diddy's former girlfriend, filed her own lawsuit seeking money. After she received her settlement and some video evidence became public, other people started coming forward with their own stories. Jose Baez thinks this creates a pattern where people who had any kind of conflict with Diddy might be looking for an opportunity to get financial settlements. He explained that when someone is very wealthy and famous, there are always people and lawyers who see a chance to make money from any dispute. For Diddy's defense team, their job isn't necessarily to prove that their client is completely innocent. They just need to create reasonable doubt in the minds of the jurors. This means they need to make at least some jury members think maybe the prosecution's story isn't 100% accurate. This settlement revelation gives them exactly the kind of evidence they need to plant those seeds of doubt about financial motivation. Taylor Swift's master plan. Now let's switch gears to some much more positive news that has Taylor Swift fans celebrating around the world. Taylor just announced that she has successfully bought back her entire music catalog, meaning she now owns every song she has ever recorded. This is absolutely huge news that ends a 5-year battle that has been playing out in public. For those who haven't been following this saga, here's what happened. Taylor's original record label, Big Machine Records, owned what are called the master recordings of her early albums. These masters are incredibly valuable because whoever owns them gets the money when the songs are played or sold. In 2019, a music manager named Scooter Braun bought Big Machine Records, which meant he suddenly owned Taylor's master recordings. Taylor was not happy about this at all because she wanted to own her own music, but she never got the chance to buy it herself. The situation got even more complicated because Taylor and Scooter had a history of conflict. She felt like he had treated her badly in the past, and now he owned some of her most valuable creative work. This led to a very public feud that played out on social media and in interviews. Instead of just being upset about the situation, Taylor came up with one of the most brilliant business strategies in music history. She decided to re-record all of her old albums and release them as Taylor's versions. This meant fans could listen to the same songs, but Taylor would get the money instead of Scooter. The plan worked better than anyone could have imagined. Taylor's fans, who are incredibly loyal, supported her by buying and streaming the Taylor's versions instead of the original recordings. This made Taylor's new versions more valuable than the original masters that Scooter owned. Scooter eventually sold the masters to an investment company called Shamrock Capital in 2020. But Taylor kept working behind the scenes, and now she has successfully bought them back from Shamrock Capital. The genius business move. What makes Taylor's strategy so brilliant is that she turned a bad situation into multiple winning opportunities. First, she re-recorded her albums and made millions of dollars from those new versions. Then, she used the success of the Taylor's versions to increase her negotiating power to buy back the originals. Taylor posted an emotional message on her website announcing the news. She said, "I almost stopped thinking it could happen after 20 years of waiting for a carrot dangled and then yanked away. But that's all in the past now. I've been bursting into tears of joy at random intervals ever since I found out that this is really happening. I really get to say these words. All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me." The financial implications of this are staggering. Taylor now owns both the original master recordings and the Taylor's versions of her songs. She can make money from both versions, and she has complete control over how her music is used in movies, commercials, and other projects. Music industry experts are calling this one of the smartest business moves they've ever seen. Taylor essentially forced the hand of everyone who tried to control her work by creating her own alternative that was just as valuable. There are conflicting reports about whether Scooter Braun was involved in facilitating the sale to Taylor. Some sources say the deal happened in spite of Scooter, not because of him, while others suggest he may have encouraged Shamrock Capital to sell to Taylor. Either way, Taylor got what she wanted. The really smart part is that Taylor will probably continue to make money from this situation. Industry insiders predict she'll now release remastered versions of the original albums, which means fans might buy her music for a third time. And knowing Taylor's fans, they'll probably be happy to do it. If you're enjoying these back-to-back celebrity bombshells, make sure to hit that like button and let us know in the comments which story shocked you more. The settlement controversy continues. Back to the Diddy trial. The settlement issue is creating major headaches for both legal teams. For the prosecution, they have to convince the jury that Mia's current testimony is truthful even though she didn't bring up her most serious allegations during the money negotiations. The good news for prosecutors is that MIA is now testifying in a criminal case, where she has no financial motivation. She's not trying to get money from this trial. and she's testifying under penalty of perjury, which means she could face criminal charges herself if she lies. The prosecution can argue that MIA is in a completely different situation now than she was during the settlement talks. Back then, she was trying to get money and move on with her life. Now, she's being asked to help seek justice in a criminal case where the stakes are much higher. However, the settlement details definitely create the kind of reasonable doubt that defense teams dream about. If even one juror thinks the financial motivation makes Mia's story questionable, it could affect the entire outcome of the trial. This case involves multiple serious charges, and some are going to be easier for the prosecution to prove than others. Legal experts think the strongest parts of the case involve transportation and coercion allegations that have other types of supporting evidence. The case also includes organized crime charges, which means prosecutors have to show that Diddy was running a criminal organization using employees, security staff, and companies to commit crimes in a coordinated way. Jose Baez and some other legal experts think the government might be overreaching with this case. They argue that this is more about making headlines than pursuing justice, and that the federal government is using too much power against one person for behavior that might normally be handled as smaller, local crimes. The industry impact. Both of these stories are having major impacts on their respective industries. The Diddy trial is being watched closely by everyone in entertainment, especially regarding how workplace disputes and settlements are handled. The fact that Mia's private settlement is now being discussed in a public criminal trial is very unusual. Normally, these kinds of business disputes stay private forever because of the legal agreements that both sides sign. This could change how entertainment companies approach employee conflicts and settlement negotiations. If private settlements can later become evidence in criminal cases, it might affect how these situations are resolved. For Taylor Swift, her victory is being seen as a huge win for artist rights and ownership. She's proven that musicians can fight back against unfavorable business deals and win, even when they are up against powerful industry executives. Other artists are probably taking notes on Taylor's strategy. The idea of re-recording your own music to regain control is something that could work for other musicians who are in similar situations. The music industry has traditionally been controlled by record labels and managers who own the master recordings. Taylor's success in getting her music back could inspire other artists to demand better ownership terms in their contracts. Social media reactions. Both stories have been trending on social media with very different reactions. The Diddy settlement news has people debating whether the huge difference between what MIA asked for and what she received proves anything about her credibility. Some people think accepting such a small fraction of her original demand shows that her $10 million ask was unrealistic from the beginning. Others argue that she might have been pressured to accept less money than she deserved, or that she just wanted to move on with her life. Legal experts on social media are split about whether this helps or hurts the prosecution's case. Some think it creates reasonable doubt, while others believe it shows MIA is now telling the truth because she has nothing to gain financially. The Taylor Swift news, on the other hand, has her fans absolutely celebrating. Social media is filled with congratulatory messages and praise for her business intelligence. Fans are calling her a genius and saying this proves she's not just a talented musician but also a brilliant businesswoman. Music industry professionals are also praising Taylor's strategy on social media. Many are calling it one of the smartest moves they've seen in the entertainment business and predicting it will change how artist contracts are negotiated in the future. What this all means. These two stories represent very different sides of celebrity news, but they both show how money and power work in the entertainment industry. The Diddy case raises questions about how financial settlements can be used as evidence and whether wealthy people get different treatment in the justice system. Taylor Swift's victory shows that even when powerful people try to control your work, it's possible to fight back and win if you're smart and strategic about it. Her success required not just business intelligence but also the incredible loyalty of her fan base. Both stories also highlight how private business disputes can become very public when they involve celebrities. The entertainment industry operates on personal relationships and private deals, but when things go wrong, everything can end up in the headlines. For people following these stories, they show how complicated the entertainment world really is. What seems simple on the surface often involves layers of legal, business, and personal issues that can take years to resolve. Looking forward, the Diddy trial is still ongoing, and there will be more witnesses and evidence before it's over. The settlement issue with MIA is just one part of a much larger case that involves multiple people and many different allegations. The defense team will likely continue focusing on financial motivation as they question other witnesses. They want to create a pattern showing that people are coming forward because they see opportunities to get money, not because they're seeking justice. For Taylor Swift, owning her entire catalog opens up many new possibilities. She can now control exactly how her music is used and make all the money from her creative work. Industry experts predict she'll continue finding new ways to monetize her ownership. The success of Taylor's strategy might also inspire her to help other artists who are in similar situations. She could become a powerful advocate for artist rights and ownership in the music industry. Conclusion. So there you have it. Two massive celebrity stories that couldn't be more different. Diddy's former employee asked for $10 million and got $200,000, creating questions about financial motivation that could affect his entire trial. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift pulled off one of the smartest business moves in music history by buying back her entire catalog. The settlement revelation in the Diddy case shows how complex legal situations can be and how money issues can complicate criminal trials. Taylor Swift's victory proves that with the right strategy and loyal fans, even powerful industry executives can be outmaneuvered. What do you think about these bombshell developments? Does the huge settlement difference make you question Mia's motivations? Or do you think there are good reasons someone might accept less money? And are you impressed by Taylor Swift's business genius? Or do you think she's asking too much from her fans? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing different perspectives on these complex celebrity stories. If these back-to-back bombshells kept you engaged, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more celebrity news breakdowns, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. Share this with friends who follow celebrity drama and music industry news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with more shocking celebrity developments. Stay informed and stay entertained.